Hey everybody, Julie here from Mostly Caffeinated. I had some requests to do this video when I posted my top 5 investment purchases. Or was it 5 things I no longer buy? Anyway, a recent video when I briefly mentioned that I use reusable menstrual products. So in case you couldn't tell from the title, this is going to be a review of a menstrual cup. If that is not something you're interested in, if that bothers you, if you get gacked out by talking about menstruating or whatever, then please feel free to click out of the video. But if you have any interest whatsoever in menstrual cups in general, or specifically the RubyCup, because that is the brand that I own, then feel free to keep watching. Leave a comment if you've got questions I don't answer, or send a message, or what have you. Okay, you can always subscribe, like, and do all those fun things so you don't miss any updates. So, like I said, the menstrual cup that I chose to purchase is a RubyCup, specifically because RubyCup does like a 1-for-1 charitable donation type of thing. So when you order a RubyCup, they also send one to, I think, Kenya or some other African country where girls don't have access to disposable menstrual products. And that actually translates into those girls miss a fourth of the school year because they have to stay home the week out of the month that they are on their periods. So I liked that kind of buy one, give one philosophy. I like to purchase a lot of items that way. I purchased Tom's hats. I purchased Tom's shoes, Love Your Melon hats, things like that. I like to do a buy one, give one. So that's actually pretty much the driving reason why I bought specifically a RubyCup and not any other brand that looks similar. I have never, physically held in my hand a other brand of cup, but from kind of doing a lot of research, I think these are similar to like a Lunette cup. They're pretty what I would call standard. A little bit rounder and larger and thicker and stiffer than a Diva cup, but not like big and bulbous like a Schoon cup. They come with a little bag, and I think I opened this months ago. I think in there was some cards and stuff. I did an unboxing over there. iCards over there. I'll link my unboxing over there. But anyway, I just keep it in this little bag. And actually, I keep it in this bag inside of my wet bag with my washable cloth pads. So, I just think it makes sense to have it all together. So I just shove it in there, and we're good to go. This is a whole nother thing. I think these are the same cloth pads that It's Just Kelly uses. That's actually why I bought them, because she said she really liked hers, and I just looked for ones that looked the same. I'm sure any of them would do, but these are the ones that I have. Whatever. Anyway, back to the cup. Comes with this little bag. I just store it in here after I sanitize it after use. Now, maybe I need to talk basics. Okay, well, here's the cup in case you've never seen one before. Looks like this. Okay. This is not meant to be like a how-to video or why you should buy in general menstrual cups, but like bare bones rundown if you've arrived at this video and you have no idea how one of these works. They're made of silicone. They're squishy. Instead of using a tampon or a pad or whatever, you insert this. It pops open. Okay, and this whole thing is, concealed inside of your vagina, and then this catches your blood. Let's be real here. That's what it is. It catches your blood, and you just dump it out, rinse it out, and stick it back in, and you keep doing that for your entire period, and this is the only thing you use. And then when you're done, you just boil it and keep it until next month. Hooray. My theory here was I don't like a lot of features of tampons. I don't like that they're bleached. I don't like that there's an applicator you throw away after. I don't like that you really can't use one until you know for sure that you've already started your period, and then you got to make sure you get the heck out at the end, and you've got to change them every however many hours it takes for you to need to change tampons. Anyway, I didn't like that whole shebang. And I'm not a pads fan because they cause irritation, those disposable pads. I don't ever hear anybody talk about this. But like, personally, for me, if I use, a disposable pad, if I use disposable pads for like 2 days or more in a row, I get like crazy irritation. I don't know, something about the texture or the fact that it's holding moisture there, I just can't. I do have to use them postpartum because you're not medically supposed to use anything else, including this. You're not supposed to use anything internal postpartum, so not even my menstrual cup. And yes, they still cause irritation. 15 years later. Okay, so anyway, I decided to purchase this thing. I believe I spent around $30. Now, that kind of sounds like a lot, but if you... like your average box of tampons is what, $4 or $5? So this is paid for itself in 6 months, and it is so much better. Let me say, if you've been thinking about switching to menstrual cup, if you have any inkling whatsoever that you might want to do that, just do it. Do it right now. Do it before next month. I am not kidding. Like, such a good idea. Now, onto the RubyCup specifically. I don't know if you can tell a size comparison with my hand or anything. Here's a standard size smartphone. Anyway, I got the larger one. I think there are 3. When I purchased this, there were 2 sizes, a regular and a large, and the kind of buying guide on the internet advised that I purchased the large. And this is typical of most brands of menstrual cups. They usually have at least 2 sizes, one that is considered for people who've never had babies, and then one that is for people who've had a baby. I've heard that it doesn't matter how you had that baby. The fact that you ever were pregnant and had a baby means you should get the big one. So I got the big one. Turns out that is a pretty correct size, I guess. So there it is. This is, from what I've seen on the internet of other cups and just the general impression that I have from using other, medical devices, I would call this kind of a medium to firm situation. It's not super flexible, but it's not like difficult to fold. And there's all kinds of, this is again menstrual cup basics. You can fold this however you need to, essentially, to get it to work. I'm a punch down fan, so I do that. I do the punch down thing. And actually, after much trial and error, I figured out that doing a punch down and then using the entire thing sideways is actually the best way for me to do it. Do whatever works for you. Stem and grip rings wise, because I know people like to talk about that, I don't find this difficult at all to use or remove. I've heard this has about like medium quality texture, but I have no problem with this. There's just a tiny bit of stretch to the stem, but not much at all. It's not like, stretching and nothing's happening. There are 4 air holes, which seems perfectly sufficient for me to break suction, not a problem. I've been using this, I think, 4 or 5 months now. There is no staining. I did get a blue one. I intentionally chose not to get the clear one because I figure if anything is going to discolor, it's going to be clear. Just, again, based on my back knowledge of silicone products. But this thing has not discolored. It does have measurements up the inside if something you're interested in is knowing how much bleeding that you have. I don't really care. I thought I knew before I started using this. This is one of the largest cups on the market, by the way, other than the larger size Schoon. I'm pretty sure this is one of the largest capacities. I thought I knew. I thought for sure that there was no way I'd ever fill this thing in a day. They say, a menstrual cup's usually good for about 12 hours. Now, this may just be postpartum with baby number 2. I feel like I could put this down now. Maybe it's just postpartum with baby number 2. But I've had the heaviest periods of my life since I got my period back, since I weaned my son, who's 1-year-old. It's insane. So I have been using backup. I have been for the first 2 or 3 days using my washable cloth pads. Now, the half of the appeal, I feel like, of a menstrual cup is that you don't need any kind of backup, which would be true and is true on days like 4, 5, and 6. Okay. But considering the heaviness of my periods these last few months, if I weren't using this, I would be going through tampons like they were going out of style. I mean, this, normally, since this is kind of designed to last for about 12 hours, that's like 4 tampons worth of usage. And I'm going through one of these, like, I'm filling this. I need to empty this every like 3 hours on days 1 and 2. That is like a tampon an hour. There's no way I'd be able to keep up with that. So this is giving me some more time in between bathroom stops than I would be getting if I were using disposable products. I did a lot of research, people. I have heard a lot of people say, oh, it relieved cramps, it made my periods lighter, it helped my various conditions. It's just Kelly, I'm going to reference her again. She does great reviews. I don't think she's done specifically the RubyCup, but she's done a couple other ones. She has endometriosis, and she feels like her symptoms of that have been lessened since using a cup. I haven't noticed any of those kinds of things. Now, again, I'm in like crazy heavy postpartum periods, so maybe when my cycle regulates itself, I will notice some of that, but I have not noticed a lightening of my period. I have not noticed an absence of cramping. I've not noticed any of that. What I have noticed is a lack of hassle, because I don't have to change this as often, a lack of irritation, because what little backup I do need, I am using cloth pads, and I don't need any subsequent days. And, okay, this is my favorite thing. Favorite thing? Yes, this is my favorite thing about a reusable menstrual cup, is I can put it in anticipation of my period, because this has no negative health impacts. You're not going to get toxic shock. You're not going to get some kind of bacterial infection from a dry tampon. None of that. I can put this in the day I think my period's going to start. And if it does, great, I'm protected. And if it doesn't, oh well, it doesn't matter. I'll just put it the next day. It's fantastic. If I'm going to sleep and according to my, calendar, I'm getting my period by tomorrow, I just put this thing in so I don't have to worry about the fact that I'm going to sleep. Beautiful. And in the same vein, on the last day of my period, I know exactly when it's over. There's no guessing. There's no like, well, I might still be bleeding, so let me put a tampon in, and then I have a dry tampon 8 hours later. Like, there's none of that. Because you can see exactly what's going on. When you take this out to empty it, you can see exactly what is or is not in there. And you know when it's over. It's very obvious. If you've used this for one cycle, it is very obvious to you. And then you take it out, you sanitize it, and you know you're done. There's no like guesswork. It's great. This is really easy to take on vacation. If you're vacationing within a few days of when you're supposed to get your period, you hear me. You are taking like a whole bag of tampons, all this garbage. If I'm vacationing within a few days of my period, I just need to take this. This is easy. It's even more discreet, really, to keep in my purse even. I just carry this. If I think I might need to carry it, I carry it because it's not a big deal. And like for right now, sure, I am also taking along my little pads, but this, okay, this is all I'm taking with me anywhere. If I went on like a 2-month vacation, I would only need this. Not gobs and gobs and gobs of tampons and all kinds of ridiculous. So, it's convenient. I like it. You can tell exactly what's going on with your system and your cycle. You know exactly how heavy your cycle is. You know exactly when it's beginning and ending. It's really helpful for all those reasons. It's not hard to use. It's not scary to use. It's not even really like gross to use. Like, it's definitely no grosser than a disposable product, which you were already dealing with. Like, it's lovely, really. I like it. It's easy to use when you're out and about. It's discreet. Like, say I'm at my in-laws or at a friend's house or in a public bathroom. It's just me and my cup and the stall. You know, there's no wrapper noises. I don't have anything to dispose of in someone else's garbage can. Nobody needs to know. It's great. I mean, there's no odor like you have with your trash can normally. Like, none of that. It's fantastic. So if you're thinking about doing it, do it. If you're wondering which brand is for you and they kind of all seem like a horse apiece, if you don't have any special needs that mean that you need a certain brand or other, and if you don't mind ordering online, I'd go with the RubyCup. You can, for the price that you'd pay for any other cup, get yours and be helping a girl to be able to stay in school. And education is super important, especially in countries where there's not a lot of material possessions and not a lot of modern conveniences. What you have is yourself and your brain and your moxie, and it's hard to keep up with that when you need to stay home for a fourth of your life. So I would definitely recommend the RubyCup. It's great. I'm not going to say it's changing my life. Some people say that. It's not changing my life, but it certainly makes 1 week out of every month a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more predictable, a little bit less paranoia going on. It's easier to go out and about, visit people, go on vacations, things like that. So I hope that was helpful. 16 minutes of rambling later. If you've got questions I didn't answer, I will certainly answer them. I have no qualms whatsoever about answering your personal questions about things that I think would help you, like the RubyCup. So leave a comment if you need to. I'll have links up here to other videos and my subscribe button and all that good stuff. See you around. Bye.